All right, runners. So we know a lot of people don't like treadmills, period, when it comes to running. We get it. I want to utilize this as a tool to help with, I think, one of the most important aspects of running form, and that is cadence. So Recharge, a big philosophy of ours is to stay away from trying to change your individual running form, right? We don't want to play around with specific things because often the way we develop our running is unique to us, and that's actually more important to me than trying to change it drastically. So what I do like to focus on, though, is the cadence of your running. And the cadence has to do with how many steps you take per minute. Now, the treadmill, although I agree I don't like running on it as much as you do, has a great tool for us to utilize assessing our cadence and how that changes how we feel when we run. So for most runners, I'm usually trying to increase their cadence, meaning that I want them to take more steps per minute. The reason this is difficult because oftentimes it takes more energy for us to take more steps because it's more fatiguing. And until you can do that appropriately, when you're fatigued, when your cadence usually falls off, that usually decreases some of the forces as that cadence goes up. Meaning, with all that mumbo jumbo, is that if you're taking more steps per minute, oftentimes you're dissipating the force that you're having go through your body a little bit more quickly than if you're taking long strides and your cadence is lower, right? So what I want to help you understand is, how do you know what your cadence is? How do you take that moving forward? And our tip for you today as a coach is to help you understand your cadence and how to change it. So treadmill is a great way to do that. What I often have people do is usually check their smartwatches or whatever they're using to track it, and that will usually give you a cadence. If not, there's multiple apps that you can get to help you determine what your cadence is when you're running. Once you determine that, then what I suggest you use is something called Metro Timer or some sort of metronome app that allows you to do that. And you can hear it based off the cadence. So when you hear that, what you can do is put that in your phone or your earbuds or whatever you need to help when every time you hear a beep, that's when your feet should be hitting the overall ground as you're running. So if I'm trying to increase someone's cadence from, let's say, 160 to 175, I'll set their cadence on the app to 175, and then I'll ask them to run. Now, as an example, let me show you what it's like to have a lower cadence than a higher cadence, and you'll notice this difference. The cool thing about the treadmill is that I can keep the same speed, but simply change my cadence, and that will change how I run. For most runners with pain coming in, that's what we start with. So let's start this up then quick. I'll get moving on the treadmill, and we're gonna start at a running pace where it's 150 cadence, which for me is pretty low. So this is 150, and this feels like I'm basically taking massive strides to keep this up. And I can hear the timer as it goes through of what it looks like. So now what I'd want for someone, if they're having pain with this type of cadence, is work on increasing that cadence. So this is 175. And you can see the relative difference at how quickly my feet turn over to get there. Now for most runners, when I suggest this, this is way more fatiguing. But what's helpful is I'm maintaining the same speed, just taking more steps. And that could be a great way to understand how to change your cadence by utilizing a treadmill instead of trying to do that outside. When I usually have people do that test outside, they have a hard time changing their cadence to go more cadence, but not go faster. So a treadmill can be a great tool. If that's all you utilize a treadmill for, I guarantee you'll get a lot of benefit, or at least a better way to understand how you're running and your skill of running for that. So our coaching tip is, cadence can be a great way to change things up that from a PT perspective could help with pain, but from a coaching perspective, it's good to understand and know when you're fatiguing or not, what your cadence does and what cadence means, and how you can actually use it as a training tool to help your overall running programming and to improve. So if you like this coaching tip, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or take a look at our other content on any social media account or reach out to us at Recharge XFit, where we're always trying to develop strength for runners and getting to understand, conceptualize, and visualize the amount of work that goes into running over the course of their lifetime.